Going? Awesome. Alrighty. And I will go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Oops. I have not used Google Meets in a minute, so here we go. All right, great. Share this. All right, awesome. Let me pull this over. Okay, great. I know we have the chat. I just want to make sure everyone's like all set and can hear me. If you just want to give like a oh, perfect. Got a thumbs up. Okay, awesome. Well, I will go ahead and get started then. Hopefully you can also see my screen, but let's get into it. So my name is Alyssa. I am with NoRedInk. So the title of our presentation today is Shake It Off, obviously Taylor Swift's themed. I'm not a huge Swiftie myself, but I do enjoy her music. And we are going to talk about embracing technology in the ELA classroom. I do know, I think several teachers in your in Buncombe actually use NoRedInk as a resource. So would love to just kind of share more about our program. And I will be focusing on our free writing resources today. So these are things that you'll all be able to get started with as soon as we get off this call. You can get started with our resources. So I'll go ahead and get started here. Here we go. First couple of things I believe is just some housekeeping. You should, I believe, all be familiar with some of these slides, but just making sure you can hear and see me. I do have a link to the presentation in my sketch as well if you wanted to follow along. So it's just some credit questions in terms of what you guys will receive afterwards. So, and then an attendance form would be sent to you all. So you'll receive an email link for that as well. All right, awesome. We'll get straight into it then. So like I said, my name is Alyssa Kovatchis. I'm on our school partnerships team here at NoRedInk. Just to give a little background on me, I'm in Chicago, Illinois, grew up here, lived here my whole life. So I also am a former educator. So I taught fourth grade. I'm a little biased. I think I might have there might have been a couple fourth grade teachers in here. So kudos to you because I loved fourth grade. I did teach through COVID. So as I'm sure all of you knew, that was quite the experience. Got one more joining here. Let me add in. Here we go. Awesome. And I transitioned out of the classroom and I've been at NoRedInk for about 2 years now. So I'm excited to work with you all today and share more about our program. And I will say we have changed a lot even since I started in the last 2 years. So even if you think you have some familiarity with NoRedInk, there's a lot that's changed. So this will be a cool call for you all. Awesome. I have the couple ISTE standards that are relevant to this presentation today. So I just put them up on this slide so you can see those there. And then here's our agenda for today. So I know we have about 45 minutes together. Want to make sure we get everything that you're hoping for. Looks like someone else is joining. Let me admit them. There we go. Awesome. So we're going to talk just briefly about what NoRedInk is. So I'll give you a little background on what our program is. We'll also walk through, I want this to be generally interactive for you. So we're actually going to create a free account. So you might already have a free NoRedInk account. If you don't, it's really simple and easy to join. And the reason for doing this is so that once you have your free account, I'm going to walk you through some of our free resources that you can utilize and you can kind of follow along as we go. So that'll be super easy. And the easiest way to log in with the free account is with like if you have a Google Gmail account, but there's different ways to sign in if you don't. We'll walk through the free resources to support your instructional goals, and then I'll leave some time at the end for questions. But as I'm presenting, if you have any questions, you can throw them in the chat. You can just unmute if that's easier. I'm totally okay with however you want to ask questions, but I will leave some time for questions at the end. All right, awesome. We'll go to our next slide then. So before I get started, I would love if you could just take a quick second and think about like writing instruction within, whether you're a teacher or a coach or whatever it is, just thinking about like writing within your classrooms right now. Could you just take a quick second and maybe pop in the chat, what are the most significant challenges you observe in your classroom regarding writing instruction? I would love to just hear You know, you can be as broad or specific as general, but just take maybe a minute or two. Would love to just hear your general challenges you feel like you're facing when it comes to writing instruction within the classroom, whether that's for you or maybe something you're experiencing with your students. Would love to just hear your ideas. Also, if you don't want to chat, type in the chat. You could also unmute if that's easier. That's a good one. Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Rebecca, Tori, and Savannah. Those are great points and definitely things we're hearing across the nation. So you're not alone in that. I'll give maybe one more minute if anyone else wants to add in any responses. Awesome. Yeah, these are great responses. I'll just kind of summarize a couple of them. So weak grammar, kids using AI, especially nowadays with all of the AI tools. Students come in with so many different levels of writing experience. Absolutely. So we've got those varying levels of abilities when it comes to not only like the grammar mechanics piece of it, but just being able to produce formal writing. Students can give an excellent oral response. Yep, but they can't produce those same thoughts on paper. Absolutely. Time to check each production with good feedback. Yep, that's one we hear a lot, being able to reach all of your students and give that authentic feedback. So difficult to balance what the college expects with what the kids are ready to do. Absolutely. So having those like grade level standards, and then what happens when your students aren't there, right? Students not retaining grammar skills. Yep, absolutely. These are really great challenges. And I say great in the sense of they're challenges that many teachers and administrators in schools and districts face. So I think once we go through our program, you'll see where NoRedInk can kind of fit to help with some of those. Oh, I have, let me admit. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of your responses. This is super helpful for me to know, especially as we're walking through our free resources. I can kind of point out a few things that might help when it comes to like feedback or helping your students with writing and grammar skills as well. So thank you so much for your responses. All right, great. Well, I am going to go to our next slide here, and I'm actually going to show you, it's a quick 2-minute video. Let me see here. Let me pause it really quick. And this is going to give you just a general overview of what NoRedInk is. It's short, and it'll just give you some pieces into what we're going to look at today. So I will go ahead and share that. Can you give me a thumbs up just to make sure you can hear that? And you can hear the. Oh, you can't hear it? No? Oh, no. Okay, let's see. Okay, you guys can hear me, but when I play the video, not the video, I see. Interesting. It could be because it's just not, maybe my speaker isn't linked to that. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to pivot a little bit, as I'm sure all of you do as teachers, and we'll skip the video for now and we'll just talk about it. So no worries. I'm back here. I had a feeling that might not work. That's all right. We'll just jump right into what NoRedInk is. So instead of watching a video, you can hear it from me. Okay, great. So we're a comprehensive writing and grammar platform for grades 3 through 12. So we actually started more as grades 5 through 12. And this past year, we released a full elementary offering. So I think I saw we had some elementary folks in here as well. So I'll make sure to touch on the grades 3 through 5 specific content, as well as the 6 through 12 content. And I know we have some college writing as well, which will certainly be applicable to you as well. And then the thing about our program is we have a free version and we have a premium version. The free version is going to give you access to about 20% of our content. And then the premium version obviously would give you access to all of it. The purpose of this presentation is to focus on those free resources for you to get started with right away. So just wanted to quickly show, just kind of put in perspective, if your ELA state standards were a pie chart, they would look like this. So you can see here, you've got 20%, that yellow part is for reading. You can see the 12% for speaking and listening. And then you can see the biggest chunk there is for writing and language, 61% of your standards. But then when you think about it, and I think someone even mentioned this in the challenges, is how many schools or districts really spend that much time teaching writing, right? We always hear that it's kind of, if you can, you'll try to integrate maybe reading and writing, but to actually sit down and explicitly teach those writing and language standards, it's not always easy to do. So it kind of puts in perspective where writing lies, and this is where NoRedInk might be able to support you and help you teach those writing skills. And of course, we know that kids need a voice. So I know someone else mentioned it too. They're able to speak really clearly about their responses, but kids need to have a voice within their writing too. So we want to make sure that students are reaching their fullest potential when it comes to writing and really expressing themselves. So we'll jump into each of these. I just wanted to quickly touch on a few of our core value propositions. This is just where NoRedInk can kind of help your students within the classroom. So the first thing is we're going to guide students through each stage of the writing process with robust scaffolding. So I know a couple of you mentioned this too. Students have varying levels when it comes to being able to formulate an essay, right? And so what we're going to do is help you and guide your students with scaffolds in place as they write. So they'll have tutorials, they'll have color-coded examples, they'll have different tips and tricks as they build out essays to help them. We're also going to deeply engage them with exercises based on their interests. So if any of you are familiar with NoRedInk, students, when they log on, they get to choose from their favorite like TV characters, movie characters, friends' names, pets' names, whatever it is, and it'll actually appear in the practice exercises for them. So as we know, let's be honest, grammar and mechanics is not the most exciting for students, right? So this is a great way to make it more relevant for them, let them see themselves in the writing. And then we're going to boost their skills and confidence with adaptive exercises that shift according to their needs. So I know a lot of you said we've got a lot of different skills. Well, NoRedInk is going to allow you to differentiate and meet the needs of your students. So I imagine a lot of you use a core ELA program. A lot of the times those curriculums don't offer enough support when students need that extra support. So I know a couple of you mentioned like, what happens when I have to teach a grade level standard, but I have all these students who aren't there yet? This is where NoRedInk is going to come in. We're going to remediate and build students with those gaps and bring them up to mastery. And then the last two things here, we're going to help you. So we're going to help you become more confident writing instructors, especially, a lot of teachers, myself included, did not go into education solely because they love writing, right? Some of you did, which is amazing. Some of us did not. So we're going to help you become more confident when it comes to teaching and modeling strong writing. And the last piece there, of course, is we're going to help you track that growth. So we've got great data to help you facilitate your instruction. All right, awesome. Well, a couple pieces we'll jump into here. This is what one of our practice pieces looks like, where you can see actually the data you're going to collect to be able to see what skills your students need to work on, which I will show you when we jump into our free version. You can see here's where the student interests come in. So they'll choose their interests and then it'll appear in the practice exercises. You can see here Mufasa, for example, a student chose Lion King maybe. It's going to appear in those practice exercises for them. And then we have tons of writing opportunities for you to assign out to your students to get them developing full essays. Maybe you want to connect reading and writing. So reading a text, responding to that text. So we've got tons of resources in there as well. All right, awesome. That was enough of me talking at you. I want to get us started with creating our free NoRedInk accounts. So for this next maybe 5 to 10 minutes, would love to have you kind of follow along as I show you how to create your NoRedInk account. Again, maybe you already have one, but if you don't, we're going to do that together now. So you can see here, we're going to go to NoRedInk.com, and I'm actually going to walk you through and create my own free account as well. So I have some slides here that show you how to do it. So if you decide not to create your account right now, you can do it later if you'd like, but I think it'd be a lot more helpful if you create it now with me so you can get started right away afterwards. All right, great. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to go to NoRedInk.com. And again, if you're having any issues as we do this, please let me know, because I've got my chat up so I can see if we have any issues here. All right, great. So this is what it should look like when you go to NoRedInk.com. And you'll see in this top right here, we've got sign up or log in. So if you already have an account, you could just log in. If you don't have an account, here's where we're going to go ahead and click into sign up. All right. Once we click sign up, you're going to choose, I'm assuming we have no students in here, so you're going to choose I'm an educator. So I would click on that. And if you fall behind at any point, just let me know and I can pause. And here's where you have a couple different options to sign up as. So you can sign up with Clever. I'd say the easiest is to sign up with Google, because then you can just click on your Google account. Or you can sign up with an email address here, and you would just put in your name, your email, and you'd create a password. So I'll leave it up to you in terms of how you want to sign up. Again, I would do it the easiest way here, would just sign up with Google. Just for this case, I'll show you what it looks like to do it here if I was just going to do it with my email address. So I'm just going to make up my name here. You're going to put in your email. I'm just going to make one up here. There we go. All right, so you're going to make it up here. Oh, got to select a title, and you're going to click sign up. Okay, then it's going to ask you a couple questions, pretty straightforward. You're going to choose I'm a teacher, or maybe you're an admin. I'm going to choose I'm a teacher. You're going to choose that you're in K-12 or whatever option it is, but I assume you're all in K-12. And then it's going to ask you to find your school. This is just going to help when you go in to see your state standards. So you would type in your school. See if I can get North Carolina one so that I can use your state standards. Let's just do this one. Okay. And then you're going to create, it's going to come to create a class name. So we're going to all create a mock class today, just so you can practice assigning things out to your students. So you do not need to create your main class right now. I would just name it mock class. So just type in mock class. You're going to choose what grade you teach. If you teach multiple grades, you can select multiple. So I'm just going to click on those. You're going to create your class, and then you're pretty much ready to go. So it's going to say your class has been created, and then it'll say explore my dashboard or assign diagnostic. Feel free to type in if you're having any issues as you're creating this, but I'll give you a couple questions to do that. And then I'm going to click on explore my dashboard, and you want to end up here. It's going to give you it's going to welcome you to our program and give you some tips and tricks. I'm just going to click out of it for now. Here's where you want to end. All right. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do so. As you're doing this, if you have any questions, please let me know. But once you get here, you can pause, and then we'll continue on. Let me check the chat. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat currently, so I will go ahead and give you guys another minute or so. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to get started. Does anyone need more time? Otherwise, I can go ahead and pause. I want to be mindful of our time today. We're good. All right, great. Awesome. So pretty straightforward. What we're going to do next, I'm just going to quickly make sure you have a mock class set up because this is going to be helpful when we do a little application time. You're going to get the chance to come in and just like practice assigning different things out to your students or your mock class. And then once you actually add in your real class, you'll see how to actually do it, and it'll be pretty easy for you to do it once you get started. So you're going to come up to this top right corner of your program here where it says Manage Classes. So go ahead and click on that. All right. And then you're going to see here we created this mock class. If you didn't create a mock class when you were logging in, you can just click Add New Class. So when you're doing this on your own, you can actually, when your students are logging in, you can send them invite links. So this is a great thing to do once you actually have your real class doing it, or you can add them through Google Classroom. And I'll, of course, at the end send you some helpful articles when you're getting started. But what we're going to do here just for our mock class is we're going to click, you're going to see right underneath everything, it says my students are unable to sign up for their own accounts, so I need to create accounts for them. We're going to click on this little button right here. All right. And then we're just going to quickly make up some students. So make up a couple test students. I'm just going to put test student. Okay. We only need to add like one or two. All right. So I would click add student. All right. It says my student has been added to my mock class. I'm just going to add one more. Test one student. All right. Add student. And you'll see I have two students now. So just add one or two students. This is just so you can see how to do it. All right. Then I would click done adding. It's going to ask you to print their login cards. You could do this when you actually do it with your class, but we're not going to do that right now. All right. And then you'll see here's your students within your class. All right. And then you can always archive this class. So once you're done with this and you want to create your real class, I would just click archive class and it would get rid of this mock class for me. And then you can make your own accounts. All right. Are we good there on the mock class with your students or test students, if you will? Feel free to ask any questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'll keep moving on because I want to get started with the awesome resources you can get using. Okay, great. I don't see any questions. Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and I see some great thumbs up. Thank you. All right, great. So we'll go ahead and get started then. The one thing you'll just see me do, I'm going to be bopping between our free account here and our demo account, just because our demo account has assignments that I'll want to show you some results. So that's the only reason I'll be bopping between these two. So this is what your main assignment library is going to look like. It's this browse and assign button at the top here. Okay. And you're going to see this is all of the assignment types you can use to push out extra practice to your students. All right. You can see huge and yellow here is our recommended assignment. And that's what I'm going to start with. This is going to be our planning diagnostic, and it's aligned to your state standards. So this is always what we recommend teachers do when they first start out on NoRedInk, because it's going to allow you to get some baseline data on where your students are performing on various skills aligned to your standards. All right. So I know a lot of people said they had some of the challenges they're facing is the grammar and writing skill practice. This is a great way to see where your students are at. So what you would do is I would click on Assign a North Carolina Diagnostic. You would choose the grade levels that you teach. All right. And then, and you don't have to do this right now. You can just kind of watch my screen, or you can use your, you can follow along if you'd like. And what I would do here is I would choose a grade level. So let's say I'm a grade 5 teacher. I would click assign. And then this is where I would choose the students I'm going to assign it out to. You can see on the side here, here's what the skills that it's going to have students work on, as well as the estimated time it's going to take. And I'm going to push it out to my students. I would click assign, and I could have a due date if I would like, okay? The amazing thing here is after students complete this diagnostic, you'd come into your assignment section here at the top. I would view the results. Here's my planning diagnostic. And this is the awesome data that you're going to get here. So you can see where your students are struggling, beginning, approaching, and proficient on each of those skills that was on that planning diagnostic. So this is a great way for you to say, all right, I've got a lot of students here struggling with, for example, misplaced and dangling modifiers. I'm going to need to maybe start a unit and push out extra practice there. Okay, and it's super easy to do that. You would click start unit, and then you're going to choose your class period that you want to push out the extra practice to. And you can even sort it by performance. So I go here. And I'm not sure if you can see, it might be a little bit small, but you can actually see where your students are proficient, approaching, and struggling. And I'm going to say, hey, I've got a lot of struggling students at the bottom here, so let me select all of these students. But these guys are proficient. I'm probably not going to push out that extra practice. And then I'm going to push out and click assign to these students, and they're going to get that extra skill practice. All right. So really great and easy, efficient way for you to get started pushing out the extra practice to bring your students up to mastery on those skills. All right. And again, feel free as I'm going through this to ask any questions, and I'll leave some time for you to get started too. All right, great. So after I do this, you're probably wondering like what the skill practice even looks like. So I will go ahead and show you that. So let's go here. So you can see here are all of our topics that you can push out to your students. All right. Let me come back actually to our assignment library here to my free side. I would come into the practice piece here. All right. And let's say I'm teaching grade 9. I would come into all of my topics, and you can actually see all of the different skills where you can work on. So let's say I'm working on transition words and phrases. You can see here's all of the skill pathways that we have that are going to support growth with that particular skill. So I can view the lesson beforehand. So here's the lesson. Maybe you want to pre-teach this to your students in a small group or whole class or an individual student. And then you can also view the tutorial. So maybe you want to work through the tutorial with your students. So you can see here we've got some tutorials for them to work through. And then you can also preview the topic. So let me show you what it looks like for your students. They're going to choose some interests here. They're going to start with a tutorial. So we'll always pre-teach this lesson to the students. I'm just going to skip it to show you what it looks like. Skip. And then here's what the skill practice is going to look like for your students. So it says select the best transition word or phrases in the text below. So in this case, they're going to choose the correct transition word or phrase to match what makes the most sense. You can see it is using their interests. So when they log on, they're going to choose their favorite interests, and it'll appear in the practice exercises. So in this case, I'm going to show you, we've got our mastery bar at the top. I'm going to try to get it wrong. Let's see if I get it wrong here. Okay, I get it wrong. We're actually going to have students walk through some remediation. So I can click show hint, and it's going to give me some helpful pieces here to help walk through how to solve it. And if I get it wrong again, it's actually going to give me some remediation. So it's going to say, here was your answer, here's the correct answer, and here's why. And then I have to try a similar problem in order for me to continue, and I have to get it correct in order to keep going. So we're really going to try to master that skill for your students before they continue on. Got tons of different interfaces. So in this case, they were just clicking, but we have drag and drop. We have a ton of different interfaces for students as they work through these different skills. All right. I'm looking at our time here. Okay, cool. I think we're pretty good on time. So that's the skill practice piece. I'll show you as well here a couple of our writing exercises. A lot of teachers, when they use our free resources, they think they only can use the skill practice, so that grammar piece. but we've got tons of free writing prompts for you to get started with for your students as well. So we've got quick writes, and then we've got guided drafts. So the great thing about our program is it's super customizable. You can always add in your own prompts here, so create your own quick write, or you can use any of our pre-made prompts, all right? So we've got tons of different prompts here. Let's say you were just working on commonly confused words with your students and you want to see if they can actually apply that in their writing. That's what this skill building prompts are. So here would be the prompt. I can preview it to see what it looks like. Here's the prompt, and then here's the writing. And here's where students would type out their response, all right? Let me go back here. We've got oopsies. We've got tons of different prompts here. So we've got fluency and fun. So let's say you're just trying to get your students excited about writing. Let me show you a elementary one as well. We've got featured prompts. So just like some fun prompts. We've got text by genre and text by theme. So if you want to integrate reading and writing, you can have students read a text. So I'll show you what that looks like. When I go to assign it, I have the prompt here. I have my source. So here's a reading that they're going to read. I can choose how I want it to be graded. And then I can also add focus points. So if you want to give your students some helpful tips and remind them of something, you can add that here. And then I would continue and push it out to my students. And you can actually see here about how much time it'll take. Not very long, 5 to 10 minutes. These quick writes are just getting your students repetitive opportunities to write, right? And then here's what it would look like for your students. Let me show an example. All right. Here we go. So we've got the prompt here, and then here's the reading. We have a play out loud button. So for some of your struggling readers, we can play the text out loud for them. And this one's really cool. I'm super excited about this. I hope you are. We actually just started this for the back to school, and it is available for you with our free version. And this is our reading mode. So your students are actually going to be able to interact with the text as they formulate their response. So I can view it full screen. I can change the font size if I'd like. I can highlight things and add comments, add notes, add sticky highlight colors. And you're actually, as a teacher, going to be able to see the different edits they made on their reading. And then I'll go ahead and type in my response. So we got tons of feedback from teachers that this is what they would love for their students to have. So we added it in for you. All right. So lots of different prompts here. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do in just a few minutes is find one that you think will be helpful for you and pretend to assign it out to your students. All right. So those are our quick writes. The last piece here is going to be our guided drafts. All right. And we have two different types of guided drafts. I'm going to show you an upper grade one, and then I'll show you the short response. All right. So the guided drafts, this is going to be the essay writing support. There were tons of you who said so one of the challenges you face when it comes to writing is helping your students build out essays, right? Because they have such a wide variety of levels. So you can see here, we've got 3 different genres you can use within our free version. I'll go to, let's say, argumentative, since I know that's a big one. And you can see we have, let me actually go back here to our essays. We have argumentative prompts already for you, and then we have argumentative text sets. As we know, reading and writing are integrated. So I'll show you a text set. So this is where you can come in. Again, you can click assign, and then you can also preview it. So let me show you what our guided drafts look like. So students are going to have the prompt again on the side here. They'll have their 2 sources. They also have a rubric that they can reference as they're writing, and you can always change the rubric. And then you can see here, when they write, so let's say I'm working on my introduction, I'm actually going to get scaffolded support on this sidebar here, right? I've got my hook, bridge, and thesis statement. I've got tutorials that I can click through. I've got color-coded examples that I can reference. And I even have a tips and tricks section at the bottom here. So I know a lot of you said like, oh, well, my students can orally tell me everything that they know, right? But when it comes to actually writing, they can't produce it. Well, this is going to give them that confidence and some of that like support to say like, hey, here's what you need. Here are some examples. Here are some tutorials for you to look at as you're writing, right? So I love our guided drafts. I would have loved to have this as a teacher. And you can see here it'll adapt. So once I get to my body paragraph, now it's going to give me support with my body paragraph. All right. So tons of really cool pieces there. And then let me quickly show you for our elementary teachers here. We also have short response. So you can certainly use those essays as well, but the short response is going to give you, let me show you, your students some paragraph level support. So this might even be great for some of your students who struggle with, let me find a example here. So it's going to look similar to those guided drafts for those essays, but it's going to give them paragraph level support here. So again, they've still got their prompt, they've got their rubric, and then here they're going to get help with their paragraph. So here's your topic sentence. If I'm not sure where to start, I've got that writer's block. I can click through our sentence starters. We've got a tip, and we have a color-coded example for them. So I would go ahead and type in my first sentence. I would click next. And now it's going to tell me, okay, now you need evidence. So here's some help with your evidence. I would type in my evidence, and I would go from there. All right. So this is a really great scaffold for your younger kiddos, or maybe students who need some extra interventions. They're going to build out their paragraph. We'll put it all together for them and show them their paragraph, and then they can submit it to their teacher to give feedback. Can you use this to help support curriculum essays as well? Maybe click on create your own prompt and type in the curriculum essay requirement and help them scaffold through creating it. Curriculum essays. Yes, if you mean like a curriculum essay as in like something that your curriculum is already provided, yes, you could certainly, yes, okay, yes, absolutely. So you could use any of our pre-made prompts and just edit it if you didn't want to create your own. Or yes, I would recommend just creating your own, and then you can help them scaffold through, through creating it. Yeah, good question. Awesome. Great. Well, so those are the main pieces I wanted to point out. I know we're kind of coming up to time, and I want to give you a couple minutes to at least dive in a little bit and just look at maybe just practice assigning one thing. So for example, if I wanted to push this out to my mock class, I want you to just quickly come in here and I'll show you what I want you to do, but you would just choose your students here and you would click assign. And that's how you push out an assignment to your students. And then when you come to your little assignments button, you'll be able to see it here. So here's where I assigned out that piece, and then you could grade it from there. So let me go back to our presentation here, show you what we're going to do next. And that is application time. So I want you to do one of these three things. I know we're coming up to time and I want to leave some time for questions. I want you to try one of these three things. So I want to give you a couple minutes to either try assigning out that planning diagnostic to your mock class, or if you already have a free account, try assigning it to your real kids. You can go, oh, I forgot to show you as well. Let me come back here. In the Browse and Assign section, you have a Standards and Test section. You can come to your North Carolina standards. You can choose your grade level, and you can actually look at all of the assignments we have available that support growth with that particular standard. And then you can see and push it out to your students. So I want you to play around with your North Carolina standards section as well. What was my other one? Or I want you to try assigning a writing activity. Can I do that again? Absolutely. So let me come back here. When you're in your Browse and Assign assignment library, you have a little button here called Standards and Tests. So I would click in here. You will see some of this is locked. So I wouldn't focus on the North Carolina state test just because it's mostly locked. But if you come to your North Carolina standards here, you'll choose your grade level. So let's say I choose grade 8. And then you can click through and see all of the different your standards and your substandards, and you can choose any of the activities from here that support growth within that particular standard. All right. So essentially what I want you to do is just try exploring the site for a couple minutes, seeing if you can find any writing activity or a standard that you think would be super helpful for your students in getting started. And while you're exploring, feel free to unmute, ask any questions. Feel free to put a question in the chat. This is kind of like our application slash, oh, I see a hand. Yes, Regina, do you have a question? think you might be muted. Are you able to unmute? Let's see. Sorry, Regina, I can't hear you. Feel free to type it in the chat too if your mute's not working. Awesome. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. I know we're coming up to time, so I'm going to put up my questions slide as well. The other thing, as you're exploring, which you should have access to my presentation as well, I did link a lot of helpful resources for you to get started with right away. So I linked our help center. I linked our website. Like I said, we do have a premium account. I would recommend getting started with your free resources right away. Oh, I see. And can the diagnostics be used for beginning of the year and middle of the year? Yeah, definitely. Like if you want to do it by semester, you can certainly do that. You can assign different planning diagnostics. Yeah, absolutely. And I will point out this first link here that I have on my presentation, our help center, is incredible. It has tons of different articles to help you as you utilize our free version. So if you come in here and say, I'm a teacher, you'll see we have tons of different resources to help you. If you need help with like creating assignments, you can click in and click through any of these to help you as you utilize our free resources. So feel free to play around with our help center. And you can always reach out to me. I have my questions. If you have any questions or need any additional information, my contact info is on here as well. But the purpose of my presentation was to hopefully give you additional writing resources that you can get started with right away. So I hope that you leave this presentation with knowing that you have some free resources at your fingertips to work on those various skills that you're seeing gaps in, as well as getting your students writing more frequently. Give them a 10-minute bell ringer quick write. Maybe you need to work on an essay with your students, whatever it is. I hope that you leave here with some additional resources that you can use in your classroom. Awesome. I hope that you all found this informational. Being a former teacher myself, I really love chatting with you all and sharing resources that hopefully will help you. So I appreciate all of your time today. I know it's coming up to time here, so if you got to hop, I understand. I'll stay on this call for a couple more minutes in case you have any like extra questions. But these slides will be available for you, so definitely utilize our resources, and you can always reach out to me as well. Thank you so much for your time today, everybody. And I will stay on for a couple minutes, just in case we have any last-minute questions. Is it possible to export a completed assignment so that it can be included in Moodle? A completed. So what you can do, Rebecca, is when you come into your assignment. So let's say it's like, I assume maybe you're talking about like a writing activity. Let me come in here. Yes. let me come in here and see. When I go to my student data tab, let's say I assigned, actually, let me go back here to my assignments. Go to a writing activity. Here we go. View writing. Let's see. Click on a student. So I know you can print them. I'm not sure you can export it. I haven't heard of exporting it to something else like Moodle. I do know when you come into your student data tab, you can download all of your data. So you can download it as an Excel or CSV file. So you could try doing that. Oh, it can't grade anything unless it can be submitted into Moodle. Gotcha. So you could download the data here. Oh, yes, Regina. Yes, there is an attendance form that will be sent to you. I believe it's on here. You're going to receive an email at the end of the closing session. Okay. And then out for there. So yes, Rebecca, you can't create anything unless it can be submitted on Moodle. So I guess, yeah, the main thing I would say here is, let me go back to where I was. Here we go. You can download that data to an Excel or CSV, and I'm sure you can import that into Moodle. I'm not familiar with Moodle myself, but awesome. Yeah, no problem. Happy to answer any other questions. Thank you, Rebecca. You too. Let me stop sharing now since we should be good, but. Regina, do you have any other questions I can help you with?
Don't know how to sign.
Not sure how to get off it?
Yes.
Gotcha. Do you have like an end button? If I end the call, I don't think it will end for you. So I just want to make sure you get off it.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
No worries. I know it's not always easy. Let me stop. There should be like a little red button, hopefully. Like that's. Do you see that button?
Yeah, no, it's not. Let me see.
There we go.